Hello everyone, welcome for this new community show. I hope you are all doing awesome and you're ready to chat with me about the different things we have to talk about today. And it's a pretty exciting time. We're in the mid of January, the first month of 2023, and we have decided that 2023 will be the Embers Adrift year. So we have been preparing some nice patch for you guys to enjoy today with some new feature. We're going to discuss about what is in the patch right now, but also we have our first big event, which is the open weekend. So this is something we have been planning for a very long time, but we have been waiting for the right moment to do it. And it has been decided to do the open weekend, the free weekend, so you can invite all your friends, your family, and your communities to try Embers Adrift for free the 27th of January up to the 29th of January. So 3 days to try out Embers Adrift and to see if you enjoy it and you want to continue the adventure with us. If you are a returning player, it will be the perfect moment to see the progress and improvement we have done since launch. But there it is. We also have a special guest today, which is Morrolan, which is taking care of the lore, of the narration of Embers Adrift and all the quests. So we're going to discuss about quests, obviously, with him today. And it's going to be a quite interesting discussion because, you know, we've released 2 quests last week and there's plenty of quests that are coming soon. So stay tuned with that. Here, bugs fix and improvement. Tech, fix a nav mesh link creation for ladder. This should resolve issue of NPC not properly taking ladder in places like Exile Freehold or the Exile Fort in Northreach. Fixed specialization will no longer catch up when they reach the same level as your base role. This is no longer needed now that spec get an experience bonus. They will catch up naturally as experience is earned. Nice. Environment and art. Fixed environmental bugs and props in Retro Reach and Exile Freehold. Nav mesh rebaked. Fixed reduced the max range on Cloud Shadow, so they are more refined. They were set way too high. There's still work to do here. And fixed trees in the Meadowlands Wolf Spider Canyon no longer wiggle. That would be nice improvement. Interface. Okay, so that's nice. Added the UTC time command to display the current UTC time. Added server time. Added a server time command to display the current time in the server time zone, which is CST or Central American time. Not specifically North. It's also South, but whatever. Sometimes I say stupid things. Fix it. Adventuring role tab is always above gathering and crafting tab in the skill interface. Adjusted experience bar in the skill interface and action bar. See below for more details. Alright, and plenty of other things, but that's an important change. Very important. Added an additional color indicator for lower level creatures. Green spanning from level 3 to 10 level below you did not provide enough nuance to allow for the distinction between a very low green and a higher level green. A light blue color has been added that covers 3 to 5 level below you. The color ordering is now as follows. Gray 10 plus level below you. Green 6 to 10 level below you. Light blue 3 to 5 level below you. Dark blue 1 to 2 level below you. White equal level. Yellow 1 to 2 level above you. And red 3 plus level above you. I added an upside down chevron for 0 chevron NPC. For example, the ant from Antvil, no, not Antvil, Ant Hills, and the rat from Red Nest, to indicate that they do not give experience. Chevron indicators are now larger, 33% larger on the interface and 16% larger on world space nameplates. The NPC dialogue choice are now blocked when the reward window is open to prevent conversation progression until the reward is selected, which is a very nice change. Design. So let's see what we have as change in design. Fixed yield of Rami patch, dense Rami. Fixed material level for level 40 topaz. Increased 3 chevron density of Dryfoot stronghold. And slight increase in experience for lower level mobs, green and light blue. Isn't that nice? Aren't you happy about this? I'm sure you love that. And the Chaos Hatchet replaced the hit modifier with a larger damage range. Alright, so now let's get to the new stuff. So this patch is not a big patch with plenty of new content, but we still have quite some interesting changes. So let's discover this together. New stuff, the experience bar and skill interface update. This week bring a few updates to how our experience bars work. Previously, the blue fill showed you progress towards 50, while the red line showed you progress through your current level. Except for the experience bar below your action bar, which were the blue fillet showed you progress through your current level. What kind of consistency is this? I have no idea who thought it was a good idea. Spoilers, it was me. But it's time to ride the ship. Okay. From this point forward, the blue fill will always represent progress through your current level. The red line, on the other hand, will now represent your progress through your current 20% segment. As you will see below the screenshot, each experience bar is not split into 5 20% segments. This red line should now give you a much more visible idea of your progress, especially at higher level. Next up, we have a few minor improvements to the skill interface and how it displays experience bar. Instead of showing 2 experience bars with identical information, the specialization experience bar will only be shown when your specialization level differ from your base role level. Okay, so what does that mean? So some people were complaining and giving the feedback, sorry, not complaining, but giving the feedback that it was difficult sometimes to know how you were progressing your character. Sometimes the progression was relatively slow, and to not see it increasing was a little bit discouraging. So that change should alleviate that and solve this in a very nice way. So basically you have your main bar, which is progressing here, and then, so that was, so left, base and spec are different level, so 2 separate experience bar are shown, right, the base and spec are the same level, so only 1 experience bar is shown. So let's imagine you have been respecing your character, therefore your spec is different from your level. So you have here Warden, the blue bar which is showing your progression from level 7 to level 8, while the red bar is showing you the progression through each of those little 20% part of your experience bar. And here you can see that the Warden is different than the Striker. However, here it's the same, so you only have 1 bar. Here you have nothing, which is good. And here you have the example that the Striker is on top of the Forester. We've also added the red line 5 multiplied by 20% segment to the action bar experience. So here you can see it as well. So you can see your progress. So that's the progression of your level, and this is the progression of that segment. All right, so the work in progress. So you have some news about what's currently being worked on and that you will see later. So, quality improvement in 1 week. Next week we should bring a few highly requested quality of life improvement to the game. Here's a quick preview. The chat tab close button moved to the tab context menu. Window lock state will persist through session. Map window will show the zone name in the title bar, and executing abilities or consumable while sitting will cause your character to stand. Active defense revamp, we have been talking about that in the previous episode. It's still going to take 1 to 2 weeks. Our active defense revamp has gone through the design phase, and a few more kinks are being worked on before we bring it to life. There are no current threat adjustments to avoid block and parry, as those will come after this first iteration. With any luck, however, the core revamp or their functionality will be ready for the next week. Hair improvements. A few weeks back, I had mentioned that our artists were working on improvement to the hair system to avoid visual anomalies, and were finally ready to share some of that progress. The screenshot below showed the current system on the left and the new hair on the right. The biggest change is that we're moving away from transparent materials, as they cause all sorts of issues with lighting and color at certain time of the day. In this particular shot, you can see through the hair, and overall it looks just kind of odd. This effect is less pronounced with darker hair colors. In the right screenshot, the hair is no longer transparent and is more well defined. The eyebrow can come a bit strong right now, and is something we will continue working on, although it's less of an issue when the camera isn't in your character's face. So yeah, you can see the difference of the hair. It is a really nice change. It really changed a lot. So the hair is not today, it is next week, probably, or 1 or 2 weeks. It's just we're showing the progression on what we're working on. Forgive the minor lighting difference, I assure you it is the same character. So, but it really do change a lot. Here you can see it more. So it's a really nice feature, because when you use gray, white or pale colors, your character can really feel transparent, and you have the feeling that you're seeing your skull. So you can see it here. You can see the line of the skull under the hair, while here the hair is properly done. It's full. Stat normalization, item progression, 3 to 4 weeks. We are working on normalizing some stats so that they can be more easily compared to one another. The main offender here is the discrepancy between damage, hit and penetration. The general goal is to make stats such as +1 damage roughly equal to +1 hit or +1 pen, so that comparison can be more easily be made between items. This change will also allow us to more accurately balance items moving forward. This type of change requires to make some change to a number of items, so expect some further testing, which is why it's going to take quite some time. New QA server, that will be next month. We continue working on getting the new QA server up and running on a cloud service. The benefit of this is twofold: a QA environment that player will be able to help us test pending changes, and in the event of an emergency we will be ready to spin up a new live service relatively quickly on the cloud servers. The main goal is to move our weekly patches to QA for proper testing internally and with the community. Then once we have had the appropriate amount of time to iterate on change, they will be pushed to live once a month. Okay, so that's very important, because this is a big change. It means that the patch will be released on the QA server as they go, as they get ready, but the whole patch will happen once a month instead of having small patch every week, which might alleviate the sentiment of frustration when one week the patch is a little bit light, like this week. The patch seems light and it seems, oh my god, you have not done any work, which is not true. This is a perception. There's not a lot of content pushed through this patch this week, because we are preparing all the things, and sometimes it takes longer than expected, sometimes it doesn't get ready to hit live when we want, and I can understand that it can feel frustrating, but releasing content every week is also pretty difficult if you want to test it correctly before it happens. So here it will be once a month. You will have a patch with everything tested properly. We will have enough time to test them properly, and you will be able to help us to test them. Yes, anyone can be eligible to do the QA testing. Well, you need probably to have a subscription on. So it's not really anyone, but it's any active player. And I know that there's a lot of frustration right now that we are kind of slow, or it does seem that it's slow, the content is releasing slowly, but we're really working as fast as possible, as hard as possible, and we try to provide, we want the content to be out as much as you guys want, because we want you to be happy, so you continue to play our game and you bring your friend. It is very important to us, so it is really not a question of not caring, of doing whatever, etc. We're very serious and we're very invested in what we're doing. It's just that things take a certain amount of time. If you get any little things in the way, any little bug, any little thingy that slow you down, well, you cannot provide that content you had planned for that week. You have to push it for 1 week further, and that's unfortunate, and it is very annoying and it's very frustrating for you, but that's how it is. Let's speak about that important news. The open weekend. So finally it is here. We have been planning this for a very long time, but the game was not ready to welcome an open weekend, mostly because of the memory leak. Remember the memory leak that was very annoying last year? Oh yes, it's last year already. But now that's out of the way, that we have plenty of memory to work with, we can organize an open weekend. So it will be the perfect moment for you to bring all your friends, contact your community, speak to your friends, boost our social media posts, because you can try the game for free for this weekend. So it starts the Friday 27th of January at midnight Central American time, which is 7 a.m. Central European time. So you basically have the whole Friday to play on, then it ends the Sunday night at midnight for the North American, which will be the Monday morning at 7 a.m. for Europe. So it is a weekend of 3 days where you can experience the game. If you are not sure about your spec, your computer, can my computer handle the game? Well, you just have to create an account, download the game, and try out and see for yourself, experience for yourself. You're not sure if you will enjoy the game? Well, try out. You just have to download it, bring 1 or 2 friends, and try together. It will be much more fun if you're a little group of 2 or 3 players, and try out Embers Adrift. And if you are a player that have taken a break from the game and you aren't sure you want to come back to it, will you enjoy the game? Is there enough change? Or is this things that it pleases me have changed? Come and download the game and try it out. Join us during this open weekend. You can see it for yourself for no money at all. It is free. There will be also a discount about the game during that weekend. So if it happens, you try the game, you enjoy it, yes, you can play it and buy it for a reduced price. And of course, it includes 1 month of free subscription. So we are also organizing different activities during this weekend to celebrate. So the first thing is that we do have a streamer marathon. So if you are a content creator, I still have room in my schedule. If you are on Twitch or on YouTube, I'm doing this marathon on both platforms. I don't want to segregate anyone, so we can really celebrate the Embers Adrift content creator family as a whole. So this marathon is both on Twitch and on YouTube. It's a little bit more difficult to bring one community from one platform to the next, but I want to do the experience and attempt to do that. And I'm pretty sure that with nice people, we are going to be capable to do that. So you are a content creator on YouTube or on Twitch, and you want to participate to this event, feel free to contact me on Discord by a private message. So we will have a whole marathon the whole weekend with streamers. And what's really, really cool and very different from the last marathon in Halloween is that each content creator will have 1 key per hour scheduled in the marathon. So let's imagine Ash Beyond Gaming, which is a streamer here, is streaming 2 hours. He will have 2 keys to give away to his community. So that's really cool. I'm very happy about that. That means that through the whole weekend, there will be 3 copies of the game that will be given away. All right, so that's the first event. But what we have else? The welcoming event, of course, it starts at the beginning of the weekend, so Friday at midnight or 7 a.m. if you are in Europe like me. I will have to get up super early that day, but we are welcoming any new players with a kind of welcoming ceremony or celebration. I invite you, the experienced player, to do like we have done in the past during our World Breaker events. Gather some equipment, gather some region, gather some consumable to offer to new player, be ready to answer question, or even better, to organize a group with new player to really initiate them to the game. The game is much more fun when you play it with other player, and when you're starting up, sometimes it can be uneasy to dare to find a group. So if there's enough ancient players that can nicely and gently lead the new players into grouping, into doing some few adventures in New Haven Valley, they will certainly get the hang out of the game much easier. So I count on you, dear friends, dear player, to please welcome those new players warmly with your help, with your kindness, and with some goodies. So that's a call to the existing community. And I know you're very nice, all of you. You have done that in the past. So I'm pretty sure this will be successful once again. It's in our best interest for all of us to have new players that truly enjoy the game and truly want to be part of this community. So what else do we have? We will have a trade fair at the exact same times than when I organize trade fair usually. So it will start at 2 p.m. Central American time, which is 9 p.m. for Europe. We are going to gather in New Haven City in the crafting area simply to exchange our goods, sell our services, and doing all of that little trading things. Because we have new players, it will be nice to give them this possibility of hanging out in New Haven City, meeting as a crafter and trader, and giving them a little bit of the taste of what it is to trade in Embers Adrift. For some people and some player, it will be a little bit weird to enter into Embers Adrift. If they are players that come from the modern MMORPG and had never played an old school game, Embers Adrift might feel a little bit alien to them, which is why by helping them to get into these things and showing them how different and nice Embers Adrift can be, it's very important. So a trade fair to trade with other players instead of using the auction house, it will be a nice way to show the nice aspect of a trading from player to player, which is why I find important to have a trade fair during that open weekend. It will be also the occasion to craft new equipment for the new players so they can continue the end of their adventure with new stuff, or just to chit chat in the middle of the city. And lastly, we have a closing event that will be to finish the weekend in beauty. I wanted to make this event possible to do for both European player and American player. Therefore, I've not organized exactly at the end of the weekend because that will be very late at night for the European player. Well, it will be actually the morning, the Monday morning, so it doesn't work for obvious reason. Therefore, that event will happen at 5 p.m. for North American time, which is midnight for Europe. It's a little bit late, but it's still doable. And we are going to do a tour, a world tour like we have done before in the beta. So let's meet in Northreach at the wall and do a world tour all together. We will start west, reaching Morrolan and crossing the plain to get to Retro Forest and Dryfoot to finally reach Northreach again. So that is everything that's planned for the open weekend. So it is, to summary again, it starts Friday, it ends Sunday. We start up with welcoming event. I count on you guys. We have the fair trade on the Sunday and then the world tour later on the Sunday to celebrate the end of this weekend. And through the whole weekend we will have a content creator marathon on Twitch and YouTube to really celebrate the community and to show the game in all kind of manner. Streamers and YouTubers are very important to initiate new player, answer question, showing up the game, and also bringing more player through the weekend, because if you're starting on the Friday and some people are watching you can tell them, hey, join us. You can download the game for free and join us today. So let's make this open weekend a really nice weekend, a very nice way of speaking about the game, letting people to know about Embers Adrift, to bring more players so we can grow this community and really have a nice and steady player base. The game will probably not please to everyone. With a free weekend, more people can dare to jump in it and test it and try it out, and some people might be very surprised that they will enjoy it very much. Can we get Lazy Peon to come back that weekend? Well, sure, invite him. You're very welcome to invite him. There it is. Hello, Morrolan.
Hello.
So I am very excited to speak with you today because we have to discuss about the quest. And I think that everyone is really excited to discuss about the quest we had, the quest rewards, and the overall goal with the direction of the lore team and the writer team. So
Yeah, we've got a bunch of stuff. We're a little bit limited by the technical limitations at the moment. So there's a certain pace that we can add the quests in, but we've got a bunch of stuff written in on the way. So feel free to ask away.
yeah, I think it would be really, really cool to explain a little bit what are those technical limitations in detail, because some people were a little bit disappointed that there were no new quests this week during this patch.
Yeah, so it just comes down to the fact that the technical team for Embers is small. It's only 2 or 3 people who work on the technical side of the game, and when you think about everything that has to be done in terms of the new zones and placing the mobs, coming up with the items, creating all the design and everything like that, that's a ton of work for one person. And then you have things like server stability and memory leaks and making sure the game runs well, implementing the new creatures and making sure their animations are all correct. There's a whole slew of things there, and that's a whole each of these things on a normal MMO studio would not have one person. They would have 5, 10, 20 people working on them. But for Embers, all of those things, the first set of things is one person. The second set of things I just mentioned is just one person doing all those things. And so when it comes to quests, the person who is working on quests, it's a similar thing. They're not only working on quests; they have other technical things like the UI, the chat system, the guild system, making sure that item linking works and fixing all the bugs with that. There's each of these people has a responsibility of what normally would be a whole team of people in an MMO. So, unfortunately, sometimes that means that if there are bugs with guilds or bugs with chat or things like that need to be fixed, then quests kind of get bumped down the line. But eventually, I think a lot of the stuff that was bogging the technical team down in December is mostly fixed now, and so that's why we were able to get some quests out in January, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be able to see a very large influx of quests in the rest of January and especially in February going forward.
Yeah, because we have plenty of quests that are ready. They are not implemented in the game, but they are ready to be
Yeah,
there.
they're ready in the sense that they're written and they're ready to be reviewed by the technical team. The writers aren't coders, so sometimes we make mistakes in the technical side of things. Like there's a little bit of not exactly coding, but there's some syntax that we have to put into the quest to make it work in the game, and but the technical team are the ones who need to actually go over that and make sure it works. So, but yeah, there's lots of quests. There's probably about over a dozen, maybe 15 quests that are written and ready to go. From a writing standpoint, it's just going to be a matter of catching up to that bottleneck now that the tech team has a little bit more time.
Can you tell us a little bit about the crafting quest and what is the idea behind the crafting quest? What player can expect from those quests and what's the idea of bringing those quests for them?
Yeah, so the crafting quest, there's a few different versions. Some of the crafting quests are going to be kind of alternate versions of recipes that players have already found. So I probably shouldn't say too much about that, but there's rare recipes that you can find out in the world um, that are very difficult to get, and so it won't be the exact recipe that you get from the crafting version, but basically you will be able to find versions of those recipes um, out in the world at static locations that won't require random chance. So if you explore and you find the person to talk to, or you find that object to interact with out in the world, we're looking to do two things. We're basically looking to put more stuff out in the world for people to have a reason to explore the nooks and crannies, or to pay more attention to the environment. And also we're looking to add kind of an alternative for people who haven't gotten lucky enough to get those recipes to still be able to use those materials, like mandrake leaves and stuff. So yeah, those two things are what we're hoping to accomplish. And then the other type of crafting quests that we're going to be adding are more like adventuring quests that have crafting recipes as rewards. So you will still the quest itself will still take a similar structure to the fact that you will go out, you will talk to an NPC, he will have a story about what's going on, You'll explore different parts of the world. You might have to go down into dungeons. You might have to go to several different zones to to accomplish all the objectives that the quest wants you to do. But once you've figured all that out and once you've completed that, then instead of just getting an item, a one-time item, you'll get a recipe for an item that you can craft multiple times. And the materials that you'll use for crafting those items are going to come from the things you did in the quest. So if you had to go, get one material from Dryfoot and another material from Meadowlands and a third material from a dungeon to make this item, those will continue to be the ingredients for the items. And you guys might have actually stumbled upon some of these already in the game. Some of the crafting ingredients have made it in, even though the quests themselves are still being finished. So you guys will see crafting materials that drop off monsters. And so if you hold on to some of those and give them to somebody who has the quest, then they can make that item for you if they've completed the quest already.
Oh, that's super exciting. That's really, really nice. And so we can say that there will be one quest per profession.
Yeah, the initial batch of quests that's already done is one per profession, and eventually there will be higher versions that use similar materials. So, say that there's a material you get from the Quillbacks in Meadowlands. There might be another material that you get from the Quillbacks in Redshore that creates a better version of that item, similar to the current crafting system, how, you can craft something with level 10 copper and then go back and make it with level 30 copper later on, and you get a different outcome. Eventually, we want to add higher level ingredients for the crafting quest too, so that they can continue. Some of these items can continue to be interesting at the higher levels.
Nice. And so I think an important question that some people will be wondering is that those very rare recipes that you take days and days to farm, like the Mandrake tea, will the version of the quest be better or lesser than the one you find that is very rare in the world?
Ultimately, it's up to Adric, but from my discussions with him, I believe he wants the people who were able to get the rare recipes. He wants that to be rewarding, and a lot of people worked really hard to get those recipes, so he wants to make sure those don't get trivialized. So I believe the goal is to make the quest versions either a little bit worse or maybe just different in some way that doesn't invalidate the rare recipe, because he wants to make sure that people who got the rare recipe don't feel like their work didn't matter.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I was asking the question, because I know some people have been working so hard to get those recipes.
Yeah.
They wanted to keep precious and rare. Okay, so we have a first question which is asking when the quest is coming. So when can we expect them?
It's I'm not the one who makes that call ultimately.
Yeah.
All I can really say is what we're in the midst of testing. There's several quests that we are testing on QA right now, but I can't announce the exact date until they're cleared and ready to go. Probably there will be I can't guarantee anything, but probably there will be 2 to 3 more quests coming into the game by the end of January, and then hopefully a dozen new quests in February. But again, it all depends on what technical issues crop up and how much time the coders have to focus on this part of the game. So
yeah, this is exactly what I've been trying to explain, is that every little technical mishap or thing you were not envisioning is pushing things further, and so it's really difficult to speak about we will get all of that and in time, etc.
yeah, and some of the quests are being written in such a way where they should be easier for the tech team to implement them. So they're using mechanics from previous quests or structures that are similar to previous quests. So we're kind of trying to do a mixture of new quest styles versus old quest styles, so that we can keep that pace and give the tech team a little bit less work as far as implementation, so that we can get some higher quantity out.
Yeah, of course. Do you want to talk a little bit about your overall ideas of the lore aspect of the quest and where the story is leading towards, or what we're going to implement in the next few patches with the quests that are coming?
Yeah, so the next few quests that are coming, the players will get a little bit of a chance to meet some characters from the circle that are out in the worlds, and hear a bit about what they're doing and what they've been through. Um, they'll also get a chance to learn a little bit more about what the Marauders are doing in that region. And so the Marauder storyline is one that's gonna kind of just getting started, and one that's going to continue for a while. We're at kind of the beginning of the Marauder story, while we're also at sort of the end of the Exile storyline. So the next set of quests that you guys see in like Red Shore and the Red Shore Freehold will have to do with how the Exiles got so organized. What's the story behind their leader? Whatever happened to the missing apprentice? Everybody hopefully still remembers him. So the Exile storyline and all the details there will begin to reach their conclusion in the Freehold, and in Red Shore Forest. And then as that's happening, the Marauder storyline, people will start to see some hints about what they're up to, and what they've figured out, and so I'm excited to see that continue into the next zone that gets released as well. So that'll be happening for a while. And then there's always going to be kind of like small self-contained stories that we sprinkle throughout the world. So that might just be the struggles that people are having at a particular village, or it might be some hunter who you find out in the woods that's got an issue he's dealing with. Drindon is working on a quest where you learn about the Eye of Abax, which the community refers to as Blooper.
Yeah.
So you'll get to learn a little bit about the true history behind the name, and I'm sure people will still end up calling it Blooper. But you'll get to learn not only about the planet, but a little bit about the ancient people and their storyline as well. So and then as the game progresses into later zones and players discover more ruins, more of that ancient history and more of the ancient people and what they were doing and what happened to them, all that stuff will continue to unfold.
That's super exciting. Is there one part of the lore that you prefer and that you're more excited about?
I think they're all interesting in different ways. The Exiles, it's kind of a story of, in a lot of ways, the shortcomings and mistakes of New Haven City, and some just the struggle of leading a frontier society with limited resources, and so I think that's interesting. The Marauder story is a lot more. I can't say too much about the Marauder story, but I think there are characters in the Marauder storyline that people are going to find quite a bit different than what they've encountered so far, and I think people will find that amusing. But I mean, overall, I think the storyline with the most potential for the long run might be the ancient people, because that's really the kind of the core of the game's lore in general. Like, what is Ember? What happened to the people that were here? Why is there this giant wall that the people of New Haven discovered? Why don't people remember anything when they cross the Darklands? These are all kind of like the initial questions that set the foundation for the game's story years ago, before I was even part of the team. And so learning about what was planned and developing that further has been a lot of fun.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm going to read a little bit of question. Yeah, so Jean Cable was asking, what's the official name of the blue planet in the sky? So it's the Eye of Ibax, and you will have a quest about it.
Yep, you'll get to learn about why it's called that, and who Ibax is, and all that stuff. So
So Jesse Potter is asking, it's great that new content is being added to the game. Those who have been putting time and money into the game for months certainly deserve that. My question as a newer player has to do with the game engine. I have a RTX 4019 and get 45 frames per second average while playing. This seems to be a consensus across multiple players with high-end system. Is this something that will be addressed in the next few months? Or is the game engine pretty much set in stone? Well, it's a bit difficult because neither Morrolan nor me cannot really answer this question, but I know that Undone is always working on performance and improving the quality of things.
Yeah, I think it depends on the environment too. You know, I don't quite have the 4090, but I have pretty decent hardware, and usually, you know, I can get 40, 50 frames per second, which to me, like, there's some games where, you know, I would like to get up 60 or higher because of the way the game looks. Embers, I don't know, with the like slower paced combat and stuff, I don't know if that's as needed, but if you really want to like try to squeeze out more frames, there's a lot of things you can do too. You know, shadows are going to be the biggest one. If you go into your settings and you disable, definitely like grass shadows will make a huge difference. But just turning down shadows in general, I would start there, and I think you'll see probably a decent bump.
There it is. Yeah, we know that it's weird enough because Embers Adrift, the performance are not really related to the power of your computer, because some endgame computer do not run as well as some lower endgame computers, which is quite ironic, I guess, or maybe frustrating.
Yeah, it's something that Undone is always working on, but at the end of the day, we're working with Unity and we're working with a small team, and we have limited tools to. It's not like we wrote the engine from the ground up, so we have to work within the framework that we have.
Yeah, exactly. So someone is saying, so it's Ray Draco saying, oh my god, I actually love how mysterious the lore is. I like how you learn another through rumors or sighting. It's pretty cool. And I think that's exactly what we try to do with the Embers Adrift lore, but also with the low fantasy setting, to have something a little bit more subtle and more intriguing.
Yeah. There's some things that will be obvious when you talk to characters and you ask them their story and they tell you what happened. But there's going to be other stories where you just kind of have to piece things together, especially when it comes to the ancients and things like that, or when it comes to what a group of people might be planning in an area. There might not be a character who just tells you what happens. You might have to piece that together from the outcome of different quests or from scraps of journals, or in the case of the ancients, those of you who have interacted with the statues, some of you were able to kind of put that puzzle together and figure out what the message was. So yeah, that kind of stuff is a lot of fun to make, and hopefully we'll be able to bring more.
Yeah, it's also a little bit the goal with the quest system, right? To have the quest optional, so we can, as writer, elaborate them and make them a little bit more complex, requiring more investigation, more puzzle solving, etc. It's not just a quest where you just get your task, you get it done, and then it's over.
Yeah, exactly. And that was kind of the goal behind not having quests give experience, is we didn't want people to think, oh, I have to do quests to level up. People who want to do the quests can do them. People who would rather just go and grind or craft or do something else can go do that. But yeah, if people want to learn about the story, then hopefully there are interesting ways to do that, and then get some good rewards as well.
Yeah, nice. So to conclude this discussion, what can you tell a little bit about the direction or the plans for future quest related or lore related?
So in the immediate future, there's still a good chunk of content coming in Dryfoot. So there's excuse me, there's 2 more quests coming in Dryfoot, hopefully by the end of the month. One of them will be pretty easy to find, and we'll take you through parts of the zone that I think are underutilized right now. That's kind of another thing that we are trying to do with some of the quests is point players to areas that they might not be familiar with. Because we'll see feedback sometimes where it's like, I'm level XYZ and I can't find anything to hunt, or I can't find anything to solo, or like, and so we're trying to use some of the quests to help people explore like different parts of the map that I think haven't really been explored as well or mapped out as well. But then in addition, there's also going to be a quest in Dryfoot that I think is a little bit tougher for people to figure out at first. And I want to start adding a lot more of that content now that each zone is starting to get a baseline of kind of like, predictable quests where you go to town and there's an NPC there that has something for you. Once we get that baseline, we want to start adding quests where players actually have to like really search for the quest. Like maybe there's someone that's hiding, or maybe there's an object that's hiding that they have to discover and interact with to start the quest. And one of the Dryfoot quests will be like that. Players will have to look around, and the start of the quest might be easy to miss if you're not paying attention. So it'll be fun to see how people solve that and how people spread the word, and what people think of the story there.
Yes. Yeah, that would be really, really interesting to see how fast players are going to find those, and how universal it become known, or if people are keeping the secret for themselves.
Yeah, we have to come up with some appropriately vague hints for the patch notes, that don't actually tell anyone where the quest starts, but lets them know like, hey, there's something in the zone that wasn't there before. Have fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. So a question, Hatat, then I want to buy this game, but I don't know if I just wait for the free weekend. That's a very interesting question. And there's only you that can answer. So what I can tell you is that if you think you will like the game and you want to support the studio, you want to support the team by purchasing the game, that's really how we can run the studio, well, do it just right now and jump in. But if you're not sure, or if you think you will be bitter because, oh yeah, well, I thought I was liking this game, but maybe I don't, well, then wait for the free weekend and try it. If you have some doubt, try the free weekend, because you just have to wait one more week, well, two week basically. It's not too long, so it depends how patient you are, or how certain you are that you will like the game. What you will answer, Morrolan?
Yeah, I think like Elloa was saying, if you want to just give some support to an indie studio, then you can take a risk and buy the game. But if you're a little more cautious, then the benefit of the free weekend is that other people will be a lot of other people will be trying the game at the same time, right? So the first zone is going to have more people running around than it normally does, which might make it feel a little bit easier to find groups and such. That's one of the reasons we don't do like a continuous free trial. Like a lot of people are asking, oh, is there a free trial for this game? Is there a free trial? Well, we don't want people kind of just like trickling in through the free trial. That's why we pick like a weekend and just make it free for the whole weekend, because then everyone who wants to try the game is trying it together, and then they're more likely to group up, which is where I think the game really shines, is when you're interacting with other players and grouping with other players.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Can we fall through sinkhole in the desert map? That will be so funny. Well, there's some, but they're not intended to be as such. So if you find a sinkhole in Dryfoot, please do /report and report it. So there it is. Thank you so very much, Morrolan. Will you be present during the open weekend?
Yeah, I'll be streaming the game. I'll probably be making a new character so that I can run around New Haven Valley with everybody. So yeah, you'll see me around.
Okay, that's awesome. So happy to see you then, and before that, when we test the quest.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so very much. It was great to have you here.
All right, take care, everyone.
Bye. There it is. Wait, you have a question? Oh, I'm sorry. And voila, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope it was informative and fun. Do you like when there's a special guest on the stream? Tell me in the comments below. Those episodes can be seen live on Twitch TV every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Europe time or 11 a.m. Central American time, so feel free to join us on Twitch. We can interact with each other. It's fun. It's a little bit different as here you don't see all of the chatter. That is cut off, of course. I will see you next time. Take care of yourself, take care of your loved one, and see you soon for a new episode or during the free weekend. Do not forget to speak about it with all your friends and your family. Bring many people to the game. See you soon. Bye.